Kid Nation, what is going on? Today, we're going to make a little video about what the fuck and how the fuck do you time your trades a little bit better. And even though I feel like I made a video about this before, I think it's the YouTube video of putting it all together. We're going to have to put it all together again, shall we? So, overall, this video won't necessarily make you better at timing it, in a sense. The only way you're going to get better at timing positions is getting more experience playing the positions. Just watching this YouTube video alone, you might time a position and be like, wow, this guy's a genius. And then a week later, you're fucking smoked because in reality, you just got lucky getting into a position. So beware of that. But when I talk about, having a trading journal and getting to know yourself on how good you trade or how bad you trade, what makes you trade good, what makes you trade bad, that's really what it all boils down to at its core. You could look at indicators out the ass, you could fucking analyze the market left, right, and center, kind of like I did with the Bank of Japan, and then the next thing that happens, nothing happens, right? The market doesn't necessarily always move how your brain wants it to move, thinks it's going to move, right? You get a little bit of confirmation bias because maybe you are accurate 70% of the time, and you're like, oh, why wouldn't I be accurate right now? But that there's a reminder that if you are 70% accurate, you are also 30% inaccurate, right? And you don't want to be inaccurate when you either place a bunch of money, play a little bit harder, and, this is where bankroll management comes into play, right? You could be, let's say you're trading for 5 weeks and you have a 80% win rate, and you're like, wow, I'm just crushing this. I need to up my money, right? And suddenly you triple or penta your bet, your average size bet. And next thing you know, you hit that 20% streak of not being correct. And suddenly, with being incorrect, with having bad bankroll management, or for that matter, being a more gambly person than average, suddenly it's not working out, right? That's why the key to this, if you haven't watched my other videos, bankroll management, right? That's number one. Keeping a journal, right? This is all fucking key to actually timing positions. I could tell you some technical analysis bullshit right now, and it might work out for now. And the problem, or the hard part about the trading game, is actually being able to win over time. And that's why I say, guys, if you want to be a winning player, focus on just winning, right? Even if you're if you open up a trade, you get stop loss, that is what it is, right? Sometimes it's going to happen. But if you open a trade and it's a winning position already, do not turn that into a losing position, right? If you open up a trade and you're up 25% P&L, make sure that trade doesn't go to negative 25 P&L, because you would rather have 100 0% trades than 100 negative 25% trades. You understand what I'm trying to say here? If you have that situation of, hey, look, you can open up, let's say you open up a trade right now, 32.92 long, for whatever reason you open it up, right? And you set your stop loss, let's say 33.81, right? For me, I know I can get a position on Ethereum within a $10 range. I should be able to snipe it within a $10 range, right? I know this because of my data, right? Now, if you open up a trade and you enter stop loss at entry, that doesn't make much sense, right? Because you're going to open a trade, it's going to instantly touch it, and you're just going to lose on fees, and it makes no sense, right? So when you open up your first position, you should already know what your stop loss range is. How accurate are you on that coin? That's why I say focus on one coin. A lot of you guys just go to the technicals. You're like, oh, what's Trump token doing? Or what's Rune doing? And you go to the 80 minute and you go to the 9 minute. You look at the Keltners and be like, oh, it's a little oversold. Maybe it can go lower. No. The first step of becoming a better trader and timing better is focusing on one fucking coin. Too many of you guys try to act like you're somebody that you're not. You have like 10 positions open, 20 positions open, and you're just fucking lying to yourself that you're a good trader. But in reality, you're just a fraud, right? You're not actually doing any of that shit, and you're probably gonna end up a losing player a long time, right? Just focus on one fucking trade. Just focus on one fucking trade, one fucking asset. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make sense to have multiple positions open that you don't have experience in, right? Maybe if you see something, you can always throw it into your like bag of like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna have a little toss into this and be like, you know what? Let's try my luck at it. Maybe the technicals do work out for me. Maybe something looks so good on the technicals. They're like, yo, I gotta try this, right? And sometimes, but you don't want to be doing that all the time. You want to focus in on one coin, whatever coin it is. Ideally, it's in the top 50, in my opinion. Ideally, it's not a meme coin, because meme coins, they can just, you've seen it, they just move differently sometimes because there's whales behind the scene that are just manipulating it, right? So, I say stuff like, oh, how about, Ethereum? Ethereum is an easier coin to trade out of all the coins, but it's not easy. There's no such thing as an easy altcoin to trade. If you wanted to trade something like raw, that's relatively boring and semi-predictable, it would be Bitcoin, right? It would be Bitcoin. It's got the highest liquidity, the highest volume, the highest everything. Obviously there's bullshit that happens with it because, you can see these wicks and whatever. Everything has a little bit of bullshit in it, right? Unironically, I can't believe that long would have been good. Hilarious. At least for now, right? But let's go back to our original example, right? I long 33.91, whatever, right? That position right now, I should have already taken a little bit of profit. Why? Because if it goes back to my entry, then I could be like, you know what? Let's try again. Let's see what happens. Or you could, you don't have to have it exactly at entry, right? You got to do the math. I haven't done any math on this, right? This is not a real trade, right? But originally my stop loss would have been like 33.80. I'd be looking at I don't have the volume on right now, but I'd be looking at the volume and being like, how's the volume looking? Actually, let's bring that up during this VOD, to be fair. I'd be like, how's the volume looking? Is it looking too bearish? Is it looking too bullish? If I notice a lot of shorts starting to load in, like 300 million plus, I know I don't have any data, but this is the tool that I use on stream that you see me use, legacy.aggregate trade. If I start noticing like, hey, there's actually a lot of shorts loading in, maybe at that 33.80 is like, that's the stop loss. But it doesn't mean I can't manually exit it, right? If something doesn't look right, just fucking leave, right? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, sometimes it's better to press market order and lose a little fees on the market order than it is to just get stop loss, lose money, pay the fee, and do all that shit, right? So, in this situation, when it did have that little pump up here on Ethereum, you'd take 25% profit, because if it was high leverage, and I know a lot of you guys play high leverage, and that way, boom, if it were to hit my stop loss right now, I would have not lost any money. Maybe I would have even made a little bit of money, right? But if you were a guy that did not do that, they set their long and it started to go up and now it started to go the other way for them, right? What would have happened is you would have just lost money. Whether it's because of fees or whatever, because it does cost money to open a trade and close a trade, right? So, that would have been, this was actually a pretty good live example of that exact situation here, right? So, it's kind of really important to know that before even getting into any technicals. You should be training yourself on an asset to begin with to get better at it. Because I'm telling you right now, it's way a million, 20 million times better to play one position with more money on that position than to play 10 positions, split your money 10 ways. It makes no fucking sense. The market relatively moves in tandem. Some things move a little bit better, some things move a little bit worse, but on average, if Bitcoin's up 5%, the market's probably going to be up at least a few percent as well, right? You're not, some coins will do better, some coins will do worse. Up to you which ones you choose. Like I said, top 50, whatever. Now that you've gotten to the point of, hey, I'm good at this asset. Hey, I'm good at this. Now we can actually get into the actual technicals of this, right? Right? So if you haven't watched my previous videos or any of my videos or any of my live streams, if you look at my time frames, if you don't know why I use these time frames, go watch my other videos. If you look at the three, if you see me on stream, I do a lot of things where I just kind of look at ×3 of a time frame in a sense, and I just try to kind of look and try to find a position that ideally lines up as much as possible, right? And before I get into the actual breaking it down, because it's a lot harder than it seems, or than I make it seem on stream, make sure when you're trying to find these positions, you find your positions based off of technicals, aka data, that has worked for you in the past, right? You know how I talk about on stream, it's like, hey, you know what, an asset is bullish if it keeps bouncing off the middle of the Kellner, right? Oh, what a surprise, stuff like that, right? Whatever strategy that you end up choosing, and it not necessarily might be something that I'm about to say on this VOD or in this video. It may just kind of break down to, hey, what is the consistent technicals that have worked for me that play out here, right? So for me, or for you, you should like, I know I have a lot of fucking indicators across multiple charts, but when you're making your decision, make sure you're focusing on like those key sets of indicators that you're looking at, whether it's stochastic RSI, Keltner channels, EMAs, MAs, whatever you do, focus in on those, right? I know I use a lot of things because I've expanded my brain over the years that allows me to look at multiple things, and my brain can do that calculation through intuition and so forth, to be like, you know what, I put A, B, C, D, D, E, F, G together, right? For you at the beginning, you might just have to put in A, B, C indicator together and be like, okay, this is what I'm going to use. And as time goes, you can try to fine tune it just a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, because you can get confused at the beginning, especially if you're a newbie. I'm trying to put myself in the shoes that I used to be in, like you guys. Too many indicators. Oh, it's the top of the Kellner, it's the fucking bottom of the Ichi, and then you're like, oh, what do I do? And then you get fucked. Over technical analyzing a fucking situation, you get fucking smoked, you get wrecked, and you're like, keep it simple at the beginning. Find something that works for you. Just because I look at like literally, all these, if you notice, most of my charts are the same. They're just every little chart's a little bit different. What's the same across all my charts? Oh, I got Keltner channels. What's the same across all my charts? Stochastic RSI, right? Sometimes I just like to look at other things. Oh, we're at the top of the envelope. I would have not known that for Litecoin if I didn't do that. Or I throw in Ichi clouds, right? What's the Ichi cloud saying for Litecoin, right? I'm just trying to find like things that are lining up in a sense. Like, is there a time frame? Is there something that adds to my idea that, oh, this makes sense that we rejected there? Because you look back in a few days and be like, of course we rejected the top of the 9-hour Keltner channel and the Ichi cloud on Litecoin. Of course, how could I not seen that earlier? And it might have been because you were too zoomed in on the 27-minute or whatever it may be, and you kind of fucked up, and you were like, oh shit, I could have seen that, but I didn't see it because you had tunnel vision for whatever reason. So that's why you always see me clicking around on stream. It might seem like I'm not doing anything in a sense, but I'm like clicking around because I'm just like, I don't want to miss something, right? I just want to be like, hey, what's happening on the 3? What's happening here? What's this? I'm not even looking at technicals. I am looking at technicals, but I'm not looking at like RSI, stochastic RSI right now. Right now, my brain is focusing on like, okay, Keltner's, Ichis. What's happening here? Keltner's, Ichis. Is there like some kind of pattern that I'm noticing? Is there like, hey, you know what? Things are denying off the top Keltners, and ideally you don't bounce to too many coins, right? But I just like to like look around. It's like, okay, hourly overbought. What time is it? It's the New York Stock Exchange. It's the first 40 minutes have gone by. Okay, what's the RSI trend? RSI still uptrend. Okay, right? If you kind of notice that, that's kind of how my brain talks or thinks when I post those Discord updates in the bare naked signals, right? I'm just like, what am I looking at? Okay, stochastics overbought. Okay, we're how are the Keltners top of the 3 hour Keltner? Okay, we denied that at 106. 3 hour stochastic. Could it turn down? It could. How do the low time frames look? We go to the low time frames. Okay, 9 minute overbought, not bad. 3 minute, here's the thing that we're gonna talk about, the 3 minute here, right? And right now I'm not giving any. I haven't really given you timing. Like, I am telling you how to time the market at the same time, but I haven't given you any clear instructions, obviously. I'm just kind of trying to give you my mindset and my thought right now, right? And funny enough, there's a little dumperooski happening right now. Like this is kind of like what you want to do. You want to just start like looking at things like, hey, what's the Keltners? What are the time frames? Does the 9 minute look good for a drop? Well, the 9 minute look good drop for a little bit ago, to be fair. And you want to start like getting a checklist off, like your own checklist, like not my checklist, because what for me is not the same for you, because I've spent 30-50,000 hours looking at these charts, and I'm not even joking. The fucking, like, I know it's at least 30,000, and that's the experience gap that I have on you, right? So you have to try to catch up to that experience gap by being as big of a crackhead as I have been, and trying to look at these charts and trying to figure it out like as much as you can, right? So that's kind of the basis what you would like to do when you're trying to time these markets. Now, the time frames are important in this section too, right? You've seen me on stream recently, like I've said, like if you want to be scalping, you can scalp on the 3 minutes, but the problem is if you stay too zoned in on a time frame, right? If you start hanging out on the low time frames like the 3 and the 9 minute, I guarantee you're gonna miss the big move, right? Before you start your session, or before you whatever the fuck you're gonna do, you gotta ask yourself, what the fuck is my goal, right? Outside of making money, obviously. But what is my goal right now? Do I want to snipe a longer term trade? Is there a longer term trade available, right? Are the 3 hours getting so overbought that it's not even worth the scalp, right? Or is it getting so oversold and it's hitting a key indicator area that maybe, when you zoom into the, low time frames here at 101, 102K, you're too zoomed in. I'm not looking at it right now because we're at the 3 hour, but let's just imagine you zoom in there, and we'll zoom in afterwards, that you're so zoomed in here, you're kind of missing the point that, like, hey man, you're at the bottom of the calendar on the 3 hour, it's oversold, it's above 36 RSI, there isn't a lot of volume, you've just had a chop down of multiple 3 hour candles that really haven't resulted in much down other than touching the bottom of the calendar. Maybe I should be looking at a longer position right now instead of this kind of like, oh, what's the scalp rate, right? Let's hold up, let me go back. I forgot what fucking time that was at. So that was at 4 a.m., right? So let's go to 4. Fuck, I don't even remember the date. My God, sorry, guys. 4 a.m., 23rd. Okay. Let's go to 4 a.m. on the 23rd. Oh, good thing I circled it, right? If you were like zoomed in here on the 3 minute and you're too focused on, you're looking at the 3 minute, you're like, okay, let me zoom out a little bit. Sorry, we just have to go back in time here. If you're too zoomed in and kind of not looking at the greater picture here, you'd get lost in this, right? Because look, the chart's completely changed. It's like, yeah, okay, overbought stochastic RSI 3 minute. I can short this to the bottom of the calendar, and if it hits the bottom of the calendar and oversold, I'll take profit. You don't have to long per se, and that's another thing that will fuck you up in this situation, right? If you're gonna choose to either scalp long or short, in my opinion, you should just choose one side, either longing or shorting, right? Because if you start playing this this game of short, let's say your strategy was, I'm gonna short the top of the calendar, long the bottom of the calendar, and blah blah blah, right? And and I'm gonna short it when it's top of the overbought, top of the calendar, long it when it's oversold, bottom of the calendar, right? You're gonna get into a situation where you're gonna be wrong, right? You might hit a streak of like 5 trades if it's going your way, but sooner or later that streak, you're just gonna get confused because it's like, oh, I thought it was gonna go up, oh, I thought it was gonna go down, and the next thing you know, if you had just shorted here and decided to just kind of keep it for a little bit longer, you could have made all this money instead of just oh, I only made this much, and then you get into your own head because suddenly you came in with the mindset of scalping, right? Because that's what it is. If you're scalping, you're scalping. You're in, you're out, and if it moves more than you wanted to, well, too fucking bad, right? So that's also the big important thing. Kind of, I think that's why a lot of more people get fucked in trading, is because they number one, don't choose a side, and number one, they don't choose what their goal of the trade is. If your goal is scalping, you're in, you're out, you made some money, congratulations, find the next trade. If you find 100 scalps over, you know, 100-day period, you're a happy dude, right? And a lot of people just don't think about the future when it comes to this shit, right? They just like, oh, I do it too, because I used to do it, and sometimes I still do it when it comes to these situations, right? So if you're trying to be like this low time frame shit that you see on my stream, because sometimes it's boring on stream and we just want to make some plays, right? But it's also important to not forget about the big move, getting a nice big move in general, right? You know, 3-hour overbots, 9-hour overbots, right? You know, like stuff that is just kind of ridiculous, right? This 9-hour is still looking bullish, right? Like even if this 9-hour stochastic even pulls back, it's still looking bullish. Like I don't even think Bitcoin's gonna go over under 100K unless something like really bad happens at this point, at least for now. Just kind of looking at these low time frames, little quick TA here, right? So when it comes to timing your positions, right, you really want to have that strategy set up to be able to choose which time frame you're looking at, right? So if you want to just be, you know, if you're just looking like, hey, I'm going to short when it's overbought on the hour, and I'm going to long when it's oversold on the hourly, great. Do that as your strategy, right? Whatever strategy you choose, use that to your advantage. This video isn't per se to tell you how to use the technical indicators, because I've done that in all my other videos. If you watch all my videos, I tell you about stochastics, using the stochastics, the downside of stochastics, right? Just because it's overbought, you know, if it's in an uptrend and it's, you know, still above the middle of the Keltner, just because it's overbought doesn't necessarily, and it kind of does like a bounce off the middle Keltner, doesn't necessarily mean that it's gonna go drop and go to zero and be like, oh, that's it, right? That's what you have to be able to identify for yourself, to be like, okay, is this in a bullish trend right now? Is it worth to short? Is it at the end of a bullish trend, right? You know, like right now, this 3-hour, right? At the beginning of the week, if you watch my VOD on like Monday or Sunday, I said, you know, we're at the bottom of the Keltner here. We're probably going to touch the top of the Keltner. And if it's boring, we'll go to the bottom of the Keltner. And we'll go to the top of the Keltner. And we almost went to the bottom of the Keltner. And we're now back at the top of the Keltner, right? Just based off of this looks likely that we're just, and this is, that we're honestly just going to keep going up a little bit higher, in my opinion. We are kind of denying that top Keltner, but I think once we crack over 106.3, it's probably going to try to attempt this like 107.5, which is a pretty damn key area, as you can see. Or if you see on my videos or on my streams, you see that 107.5. I don't have this up right now. So I think this is it for part 1 of the video. I'm going to release a part 2 where I go over actually using the indicators. But if you really watch all my videos on YouTube, you should be able to put it all together. Like I literally have a video called Putting It All Together. So I think a lot of people just don't watch all my YouTube videos and they just want to be spoon-fed because they're lazy-ass motherfuckers. I'm definitely calling you out, lazy-ass motherfuckers. But I think this will be the part 1 video. I don't want to make it too long because I was about to get into the whole fucking indicators. But I think the basis of timing your positions, and I think this will at least help you at the start to be able to get better at timing your positions and timing your stop losses, right? So the keys of this video is, and like I said, we'll get into the whole indicator shit on the next video. But the key part of step 1 of trying to time your entries, choose your coin and get good at it. Make it your everything. I'm telling you, you're gonna notice you're infinitely better at trading if you focus on one coin and one coin only for the technicals. It's okay to look at other coins and be like, how are they moving in comparison? That's why you see me have that 4-way chart, right? It's always good to look, right? This is why I have my 4-way chart, so I can kind of see, like, is the market moving in tandem? Is it doing what it needs to do? Is it, you know, is there a discrepancy? You know, what's happening, right? And that's where I look at these low time frames, the 9 minutes. You know, I can always change it to whatever. But ideally, focus on one. Two, set your goal before you trade. Are you scalping? And if you're scalping, you have to be okay that if it goes lower or higher than whatever your trade was, it doesn't matter. You made your play, you made your money, find the next play. There's a million plays a day. You just have to find one, okay? Find the play of the day. It's not too hard. Don't get greedy, right? That's what happens. People get greedy. Oh, I could have done this, I could have done that. Yeah, well, I can have a fucking $16 million right now, but I don't, right? So it is what it is. Um, so that's two. And number three is getting your actual plan in play through the data that you gathered on yourself. And like I said, you don't have to pay a lot of money to gather data on yourself. $1 trades, 50-cent trades, paper trading, which kind of sucks, to be fair. Paper trading is garbage. You might as well put some money on the line, even if it's $5, you know? If you turn $5 into $30, you know, you'll be mad because you got a good trade. But at the same time, at least you made money for like dinner or something, right? At least it's not like total fucking garbaggio. And number four is stay true to your indicators and don't overuse too many indicators at the beginning, because because you see me doing like, oh, look at this, look at that, oh, blah blah blah. Technically all my indicators are the same. Technically they're not. So I think that's it for the first video of timing your positions. Next video, it'll be more, maybe I'll do a little bit of live trading, a little bit of examples, like real examples. And I think that's it, guys. I'll be back on Monday, the 26th, for the next live stream. Make sure you follow me on kick.com. All the links in my link tree on Twitter. So make sure, if you haven't been following me on Twitter already, make sure get all my links in here. Join our Discord if you haven't already. If this is your first time viewing it, join our Kick. If you're looking for TradingView discount, you can get that. If you're looking for a new exchange that's KYC-friendly, check out Bitunix. We have a trading tournament coming soon. Last time it was 3,000 for first place. And I think that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Take care. Brush your hair. Scrub your scalp. I'm out, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll see you on the next one.